Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio and welcome to week 32 of the Stash Buster block series. Our block this week is called Arkansas Crossroads. This one is made with 4-patch units, and one of the units includes some half square triangles. So this one goes together pretty quickly and it makes an interesting block, and I hope you'll try it out. Here are the fabrics that you're going to need to make the Arkansas Crossroads block. For your background, you're going to need 4 pieces that are 2.5 inches square, and you'll need 2 pieces that are 2 7/8 inch square. And for your focus fabric, which I chose this marble fabric here, you'll need 4 pieces that are 2.5 inches square. For the ones that you want to use here in the 4 patches that come together in a row, I chose a purple solid, and you'll need 4 2.5 inch squares of those. And then for your contrasting color that go in these half square triangles, you'll need 2 pieces that are 2 7/8 of an inch square. So we're going to get started making our half square triangles. So we're going to take the 2 7/8 inch background pieces, and we're going to take a straight edge of some kind and a pencil, and we're going to draw a line diagonally from corner to corner on the back side, the wrong side of your fabric, just enough so that you can see it, and you'll do that on both pieces. And this will make 2 half square triangles from each piece, so we'll have a total of 4 half square triangles. So if you like to do the 4 at a time method, you can do that. And what we're going to do is to sew those together with this would be like color number 4, 2 7/8 inch squares, and mine are blue, and we'll put right sides together. And now we're going to stitch 1/4 inch away on both sides of this drawn line. So let's go to the sewing machine and do that. I have my 1/4 inch piecing foot on, and I have a 50 weight thread in my needle and in my bobbin, and I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch away from this drawn line on both sides. And I'll just swing this around and stitch down the other side. And just scoot that out of the way, and then I'll do the second set. And now I'm going to cut them apart, and then I'm going to cut along that drawn line to make the half square triangles. Okay, let's go press those open. Here is one of my completed half square triangles, and if you look on the back, I have pressed 3 of the half square triangles towards the light and 1 towards the dark, and that is to help everything kind of nest together as I'm sewing the units together to each other. So I'm going to do the same, and I will go ahead and press 3 of these to the light fabric. So I'll put 3 light side up, and then 1 towards the dark. The first thing I want to do is just press them flat and then press them open. And I do have steam on my iron right now. Okay, press this one towards the dark. My air conditioner kicked on, so I'm going to voice over quite a bit of this video. I have all of these half square triangles pressed now. I have 3 pressed towards the light and 1 towards the dark, and I have trimmed off the dog ears. And now I'm going to lay out the 4-patch unit, and that will require 2 white 2.5-inch squares and 2 of the half square triangles. And in this first one that I have laid out, I do have one of the half square triangle units facing the wrong direction, but I'll fix that here in a minute. All of the white is supposed to go towards the center with the blue on the outside. So there, I just discovered my mistake and just corrected it. So it comes in handy to lay things out first. And now these are all ready to be sewn together, and I'll do those in rows and just take those over to the sewing machine and sew those with a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Now I have those sewn together, and now I can press the seams to one side. Now, to make this block go together easier, it will be easier if you put this block together by rows as opposed to units like I'm doing here. I hadn't thought about that at the time because I tend to like to put quilt blocks together in units. I can see the pattern easier that way. But when you do it that way and you've got seams, this many seams, it sometimes is hard to know which way to press them. You do a test block like I did and figure it out as you go, or you could not worry about it and just sew it the way you have it pressed, or you can adjust your seams as you go. If you find you're coming to an intersection and the seams are facing the same direction instead of opposite directions, you can always pop a few stitches and repress that seam and get them going in opposite directions so that they will nest well together. And then here is the second unit, and sew that seam together. And all I need to do is make sure the seams are nested together, and I'm checking that just by feel. You can add a pin in there if you want to. Get your seams matched up together, pin them together, and then take them to the sewing machine and sew them. So now I'm going to cut my thread and go over to the pressing surface, and we'll press these units open. And here is the first unit, the half square triangle unit, and I'm going to press the seams to one side. And another thing you can do is just press all your seams open if you like to do that. And I know a lot of quilters do. So if you're one who likes to do that, this is a good block to do that on. Now we need to do the 4-patch units, and I'm going to lay these out. It's not really necessary if your printed fabric doesn't have a direction. Now, my printed fabric is a marble, and the pieces that I cut do have a direction to them. They kind of look like a feather, and I just had it in my mind which way I wanted those pieces to lay. So I want to make sure that I've got them in the right orientation before I sew them together. So I'm adjusting them, getting the look I want, and then we'll take those to the sewing machine and sew those together into rows. Now I'm going to press these open, and we're going to press these towards the dark fabric, which in this case would be the solid purple. Now I'm going to lay these out to make sure I have my print fabrics going the direction I want them to go. And here I figure out that I need to switch these. And you may have noticed that when I press these, that I did press one towards the print fabric as opposed to the dark, but I fix that before I get it to the sewing machine. So we're just going to line up the raw edges and match my seams, and then sew these into units. Now I am laying these 4-patch units out, laying them next to the half square triangle units, and figuring out which way I need to press those seams. So I've got that row, that unit figured out, and you can see here where those seams will nest together. That'll make piecing them together a lot easier. And then I'll do the same thing for the other 4-patch unit. Just open that up and compare it to the unit that it's being sewn to, and figuring out which way I need that seam to be pressed. And that one is going to be pressed up. And then I'm going to check the side seams also to make sure that everything is going to nest together. And if it doesn't, you can just leave it that way, or you could open your seam and press it the opposite direction and then re-sew it if you want. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew those units together into rows. And I'm matching the seam, making sure it nests together so that it'll all look really nice when we get it done. Now I'm going to lay the rows out and decide which way I want to press that final seam, and make sure I have the blocks in the right orientation. So I'm going to go ahead and press these seams towards the 4-patch units, and the reason for that is because the 4-patch has the darker fabric in it. So I'm just going to press it out, that one to the dark fabric, which is usually the rule of thumb for when you're pressing patchwork, is to press it towards the dark fabric. It doesn't always work out to your best interest to do it that way, but whenever I can, that's the rule that I will follow. So now I have 3 seams that I need to match, and you can put a pin in each one of those seams if you want to. In here, in this video, I didn't. I'm just going by feel, and you can feel those seams with your fingers, and you can tell when they are nested together and when they're not. And just take your time. There's no big hurry on these, just enjoy the process. So now we've got that seam sewn, and I'll show you the finished block here. And then it's time to take it over to the pressing surface and press that final seam. So on this block, I'm just going to press it to one side, and as I said earlier, if you like to press your seams open, that is perfectly fine. And here is the completed Arkansas Crossroads block. Now I have 4 blocks laid out here, and I'm going to put them side by side and show you a couple of different layouts. Here I have all the purples going in one direction, and now I'm going to alternate 2 of those blocks so that all of the white corner squares are facing together, and then I'll turn them once again so that all the purple corner squares are facing together, and you get 2 different looks. So this is a block that you could get a couple of different layouts with, and of course you can always use alternate blocks or sashing, or do a straight set but use a different block with those if you want to. So you're unlimited on what you can do with this block, but here I'm just repeating the different patterns that you can get by rotating the blocks. I hope you enjoyed this video on Arkansas Crossroads, and I hope you'll give this one a try. It is a pretty good block for a beginner. It gives you a little experience with half square triangles, and it does go together pretty quick. So I hope you will click that like button if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the notification bell, and share this video with your quilting friends. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.